Welcome to the Awesome. I'm Big Roy, and this is the Strikeforce Message Launch Podcast. Here's my co-host, Chewburger84.
Thank you very much, Roy. How are you this week, mate?
I'm doing awesome. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Another week of sleep deprivation, another week of vitamin D deficiency. I think the world feels my pain, though, so no sympathy there. Same old, same old. How about you? Are you allowed outside yet?
Yeah, I mean, we've been allowed outside the whole time. It's just you couldn't go many places, so... And then they're starting to open a few things up some places. Not really here, but like in other states. So it's getting a little bit back to normal. So hopefully that continues. Although here it's still like it's winter, even though it's May. It's like there's like a freeze warning tonight. So I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Wow.
So 10 months of winter. Gotcha.
Because isn't your state the one where people are protesting going, we want to go out and lick things, and you're saying we can't have our freedoms by not being able to lick everything?
That's right. Who doesn't want to go lick everything?
My God. Mate, it's happening in Australia now too. People are just like, oh, but I really want to get a haircut. And you're like, yeah, you can wait a week, champ. It's just like, yeah. But I need one now. You're like, mate, you've got 4 hair follicles left. Like, what are you talking about?
Nice.
Go back inside, you bald donut.
You bald donut.
Yeah, it's a graphical thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as Roy said, this is the Strikeforce Masters Launch Podcast. It is a podcast that we do every single week, and it's for people who play the Marvel Strike Force game, available on iOS and Google Play. Now, we are able to do this every week because we have incredible support, and I feel like, Roy, this week and last week, the word incredible or awesome or epic or massive doesn't really do justice to how much support this community has really shown us on our Patreon, mate.
Absolutely.
We've been blown away because we sort of said that like we had a few rough weeks there where the game was going through some transitions. There was the boycott, and then with COVID, it was sort of dropping. But oh my good God, you guys have really come out and are supporting the crap out of the show. And honestly, it's breathtaking how much you guys have been helping us. So thank you so much to all of you. So let's do a shout out to all of our new ones, and then we'll do our weekly shout outs to our masters and our journeymen. Our apprentices get their shout out in the first week of every month. So to our new Patreons, so our new apprentice, Bronzy, Mikey H is actually upgraded to a master level account. So thanks, Mikey. Alan G upgraded his account to a journeyman. Ace Trainer is a brand new. He is a master. Morphine Dream is a journeyman. Corey F is an apprentice. Rayanosaurus is an apprentice. Alan K, our new apprentice. The legend and long-term buddy of the show, Grimnos, is upgraded to a journeyman. Prince Yoshi, who is, as far as I'm concerned, Roy, one of the gods of Contest of Champions. He taught me all the good things that I learned and just couldn't get me any further because I was a scrub, unfortunately. So thanks, Prince Yoshi, for your apprentice level support. Ender is a new apprentice. Rockstar is a new apprentice. And just sneaking in over the last couple of days was our brand new master, Incorrect User. So thank you to all of you for your brand new support. And to our regular masters and journeymen. So to our journeyman first, Andrew M, X23, Beer God, Mookie, The Dawkins, Justin Beard, Neil Wiley Bird, Paul Puck, Irish Avenger, Scooter, Yule, Chilbo, Cravino, Ticken Arthur, Dun and Dun, Real East, Lemon Rust, Big Spartan, Bowslayer, Leggroove Cheetah, Hobbs, Hamdeezus, Domino, Alan G, Morphine Dream, Grimnos, and JW. And then to the masters, the big boys, the God Against Men, the people who have really looked after us for a long time and now have some great new brethren amongst them. So to Sen, Della, Maseo, Bart, Liquid Cool, Dragus, Assassin Avenue, Judas, Lord Keen, Moon, Folpsy Schmolpsy, Kane, Spark Zulu, Jackie246, J Shriver138, Benicus, Tuggernuts, Commander Iceman, Shalasta, Dragathor, Chris M, Mikey H, Ace Trainer OP Jeepus, and Incorrect User. So a couple of announcements about the Patreon, and if you'd like to join up, guys, head to www.patreon.com/SFMOL. We've been putting some of Piker's custom guides up there recently to sort of get you ahead of content we haven't quite released yet, because it takes us a lot longer to make a video than a infographic. So if you'd like to see those, you can head on over there. We've also, now that we have the brand new PvP mode, for those people that want to practice, what Roy and I are doing is prioritizing our Patreons first. We have to support those that support us. So when we have our weekly Q&A sessions for the Journeyman and the Masters, basically we'll be live for a couple of hours where people within our Patreons can exclusively challenge us without any outside interruptions. And for our apprentices, I'm going to save a video version now, or a recorded version of our post-show chat, which is every Monday with our Masters and Journeymen, so that you can enjoy that as well and get to see what you've been missing out on, as a way of saying thank you to all of you for being at that tier as well. I'm sorry that section went for so long. We don't like to shill too much here, but honestly, it's expanding the scope of what we might be able to do with Masters of Launch going forward. We've got some ideas kicking around in the background. We're getting pretty close to one of those goals, so thank you to all of you for getting us this close. But Roy, of course, they don't have to spend the money. We love the fact that they do listen every week. But if they want to go one step further to help the show without spending a cent, how can they do it?
Yes, you can help support us absolutely free by leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We got one new one this week. It's titled Hand Century Arena Meta. That's some old school stuff.
Someone listened to an old app, yeah.
I've been listening to you guys for about a year now, give or take. The advice and experience you both share has greatly helped me develop my laser focus concerning roster upgrades and Dark Dimension struggles. Overall, I know you try to stay upbeat about MSF, which as a listener I appreciate. However, you calling out Foxneck Scopely on their litany of egregious errors, I may appreciate even more. Everyone makes mistakes, just compensate us with your fake economy. Try out the new real-time PvP mode, it's fun and far smoother than that terrible Disney one. Ouch. The selection of toon bands are critical to the entertainment value of the game mode. Without the bands, it's just global arena with no rewards. Keep up the good work, gentlemen. Sincerely, Grimjack from NX Brotherhood. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you much. A shout out to the NX boys. They've always been great supporters of the show. So, yeah, that's actually a really good point. So today's main topic is, of course, going to be the new PvP mode, what we've seen, what we've learnt, the vibe, I suppose, that we've seen across the community. We're also going to be talking about how the mercs have really blown people away with how they've been doing in their first week. And then, of course, talking about the Cull Obsidian now being confirmed for this month, and then more being fully released with his kit, as well as all the other news of the week. But before we get into that, we have to do some personal announcements, my friend. Number one being Piker, one of the ANR originals, alternate reality originals. Massive congratulations to him. He successfully, with his wife, welcomed a baby girl into the world. So congratulations, mate. I hope it all goes well over the next little while. And yeah, welcome to my world of sleep deprivation, my brother.
Absolutely. Very awesome. Congratulations, sir.
Yeah, man, it seems like a bit of a long haul, but I'm really glad that it must have been stressful, like going into hospital this time of year. I mean, his wife must be an absolute warrior, to use a Trumpism this week, to go through all that during the middle of this COVID stuff, man. That's hardcore in ways that I can't understand.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. And for me, for my first time in a very, very long time, I'm actually switching alliances. So I'm going to be jumping across with the OG boys over at Alternate Reality Banana. So I'm going to step up my game because that's where the big boys live. And yes. Roy, I think you might have an announcement as well, mate.
Yes, it's been a very fun run, achieving everything there is to achieve in the game. We've had lots of fun times. I want to thank all the awesome people that I've had the honor to play with all throughout the times, but I am going to go semi-casual. It's just really not worth all the extra effort for the very little extra rewards you get. So I'm going to try to find a more casual alliance. Even just getting like 60%, easy 60% in Ultima 7 and 100% in Greeks, because I can pretty much auto that with my teams. Or even less, because I don't even need orange elite orbs anymore, because I have enough of the regular elites, or the regular uniques rather, and then you're not really missing out that much on Ultima 7 from stuff I need. So I'm just gonna take it more, try to enjoy the game more, go a little casual. So if anyone has a casual alliance, hit me up and I'll consider you. So I'm gonna put myself out there, try to find the best fit for me, because really I just want to find a relaxed, chill group and just have fun with the game again.
And the crazy thing about that is, mate, like obviously our alliances have been relatively competitive for a long time, and you'll go to a super casual alliance, and I guarantee you and I will compare notes at the end of that first season and have exactly the same rewards. Right?
Yeah,
you might finish 130th. We might finish 20th. Yeah. It does not matter. It literally does not matter. Why people drive themselves so crazy for the E-Ween on the boards, mate, I don't know. I don't know why we do it to ourselves, mate.
Yeah, man. It's just want to have fun with the game again.
Yeah, man, I think you're making the smarter choice for sure. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with some of the OG boys, some of the ones that have been there, like Darth Longstride. Obviously, going to play alongside Piker and Grim and those boys. It's going to be awesome. So I'm sure they're going to school me in PvP for the first couple of weeks, but we'll see.
Yep.
All right, so we should probably get into our first proper segment of the show, my friend. But before we do, of course, we have to announce that because we are going to be talking about Red Stars and opening of the loot box gambling orbs, if you are someone who does have a predilection to gambling addiction, if you've had issues in the past or you do have issues currently, or if you are under the age of 18, I would fast forward about 2 minutes ahead of now. But for everyone else, please welcome Red Star Watch. Did you open anything this week?
Now, I'm actually going to combine this with the Corvus Blitz because they are tied together in what I did.
Okay.
So I had a plan. It's like I needed 85 more shards to get Corvus to 4 stars, which is where I want him at. So it's like, there's no way I'm blitzing enough to get top 2,000. That's just not happening. But it's like, I can hit 1 to 2%. I did end up at 13.9 million. So that was an easy top 1 to 2%. It really wasn't as bad as I thought it would be since they added the 10 new save squad slots, so I can put my whole roster on there and cycle through it. So it really wasn't too bad. I'll probably only be doing it for certain characters, of course, but it's much less painful than having to go through and like select everything manually. It's like I'd never do it like that. So I would need 30 more shards, right? So I had about 2,000 or less cores. I'm like, okay, so if I open 4 of the Corvus orbs, I only need 30. So all I need is to hit like 2 8s and 2 6s, right? Or no, a 10, a 8, and 2 6s. So first one I open, I get a 6. I'm like, next one a 10. I'm like, okay, so all I got to do is pull a 8 and then a 6. Next 2 I open, both 6. So I am 2 short.
Did you core it?
I don't have enough cores to get a last one. I'll probably have enough after Arena today. I don't know if I'm going to do it for 2 extra shards because they did add Proxima into the orbs already, which was amazing and totally unexpected. So they might do that to Corvus. So I don't know because I'm at 449 cores. I haven't been that low in ever, I don't think so. So I went all in and I paid for it. And before I opened those, I was desperately trying to find a good seed. I tried to change. I ended up opening like 40 Red Star orbs.
Yeah.
I got 1 for Red Star. It was a dupe, of course.
Oh, really? What was that?
Nothing above that. It was just horrendous. I should have quit, but I still opened those Corvus orbs, and then it was very disappointing. Even with that, I still have 43 regular Red Star orbs, and now 8 Elite 4s and 1 Elite 5, so I still have plenty for the next 2 Black Order boys. So.
That's crazy, man,
Very
I
painful.
got no Elites left. I opened most of those on, I think it was actually Taskmaster for some reason. I only had 2, to be fair, because I opened a lot on Corvus, and it took me ages to get that 4 Reds. But I did get him at 4 Reds last week, which we talked about on the show. But the only upgrade for me this week on the couple that I did open was on Scarlet Witch. I got her at 4, which meant that I didn't have to even look at that offer they had this week, where you could get like a bunch of characters, I think 3 or 4 Red Stars, because she was the last one I didn't have at 4 Reds. So it was like, oh, well, I don't need a dupe. I'll be fine.
Yeah, there you go.
So only Scarlet Witch. But look, let's stay for our first news topic of the week of where you were anyway, which was the Corvus Blitz. Man. Wow, these scores are just insane. Now, the good news is we have confirmation that the very first guy that won it, so congratulations to Steel Hulk from Pants of Hulk Smash. He is legitimate, Roy. He's not a botter, even though he did get a just insane 89 million on the scoreboard.
He's just a crazy man that loves blitzing all day, every day.
My scoreboard is broken in the way I'm reading it in game right now. And I can't tell what the story is here, because if I'm reading this right, number 5 came in at 60 mil. Number 4 at 61. He hate me. He actually used to be in our alliance a long time ago. Congratulations on top 5 finish, mate. Cake finished at 64. That Star Winger guy, did he finish at 64 or 84? I can't see because of his alliance name.
I think it's 64.
So he is won by a clear 25 million, which I think if I had have done Blitz, 25 million may have been my best scorer if I actually had time. Do you know what I mean? That is exceptional. So I'm really excited because I reached out to some people the other day saying, look, I want to talk to some of these guys that are placing at the top that are not botting to see how they feel about what's happening with these inflated scores because... You know, the fact that he had to push that high, I'm guessing that something pushed him to go that much further than everyone else. You know, was it predictions? Was it, botters? What was it that made him go that far above his nearest thing? So I'm hoping I may have an interview in the next 48 hours with him, and we'll get that up as a bonus episode for the week. So... I'm really looking forward to that, actually, because he's the opposite of me. I scored a massive 950,000 in this Blitz, Roy. I did one full rotation and then 2 days' worth of dailies. That was it.
Nice.
Because for me, I don't see the point, right? I mean, yes, in the long run, it'd save me money, but it's not going to take me from a 5-star Corvus to a 6-star Corvus. It's not even going to get close, you know? Either way, I would have been less than 100 of the way through, whether I got the 15 that I did get or the 55 or 85 if you placed higher. So I've said it before, I just don't have it in me for that many hours of Blitz. There's too much going on in the real world, and there are so many other video games to play, folks. Like, I finished another 2 games this week on the weekend with the same amount of time. Gears Tactics, what a game. That game is awesome. And back into Fallout 76, that feels much more like a Fallout game now. But yeah, man, it's that time that I would have been blitzing is just... It's just crazy, man. Just crazy.
It's just better spent.
I feel like it is. And obviously, being able to do the important stuff. Like, I had 2 bike rides over the weekend as well. I got to hang out with my wife and my kid. Like, that's stuff that when I was blitzing every 2 hours, like, you're in the room, but you're not hanging out with them. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
Insane, dude. Absolutely insane. All right, let's talk about the rest of the news for the week and talk about some of the changes that happened this week with the big patch 4.0, which just dropped after our episode went through to edit last week. So we saw a couple of surprise ones. Now, the first one was no more overlapping offers, which I know that you said you hadn't really seen, Roy.
Yeah, I don't really. I just click off of them, so...
Yeah.
But I haven't seen, like, the back-to-back ones, which are annoying, so I assume that's what that was.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what it is. Well, sometimes what would happen is, like, 2 offers would overlap on the main screen. So you might click off one and, like, both of them went. Or if you click to buy on one, it causes a crash because, like, both of them are trying to open and buy, which I think must have caused some issues in the past. So, fun fact, though, when Cat and Valley had one of the lead guys on from Fox Next, and they asked the guys the question, hey, what feature are you most looking forward to in 4.0? His answer was that feature, that the alphas wouldn't be overlapping. I'm assuming because that means everyone has to look at every individual freaking offer so he can increase his money. That answer is ridiculous. Like, it's not live PvP. It's not the tweaks to war. It's not the great new characters. It's about, oh yeah, we've made the monetization even more predatory. We're pretty proud of it.
Yeah.
What a knob. That's pretty funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, there were some strange ones as well. Like, there was changes to, and we've seen them do this so many times, mate, changes to character descriptions to match how they actually are in game. We must be at around 12 or 13 characters they've done this to now. Like, infamously, there was Groot. Who was one of the big ones? Was it Killmonger recently was another one? I'm trying to think. Rocket, he had 2, I think. It was his special and his passive, wasn't it?
Yep. Yondu.
Oh, yeah, Yondu. That's a good one. Yeah. There was a lot of these where just, they realized that it wasn't functioning, so they had to reword it. Now, one of those worked out in our favor because we were worried that she was going to get nerfed for a long time, which was Shuri. Because Shuri gives those 3 deflects up to everybody in raids, not just the Wakandans. And we were like, oh God, don't realize. And then, of course, one of the content creators is like, hey, Fox, I think you might have missed this one, guys. Let me be a team player. So yeah, but fortunately for us, they just left it, and I think rightly so, because without that, I mean, the Wakandans are terrible. Give her a chance to shine.
Yes.
So for Crystal's passive ability was the first one. Basically, her text was updated to match her behavior. So the way it's updated is that she checks her own health to see if the heal will be applied to the inhuman allies when they drop below that threshold. So that's not really too big of a deal. I think that one's okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Aim Assault's passive juicer was also changed. So specifying that it only works on adjacent aim allies. The text for the full ability description remains correct and is unchanged. So yeah, I must have read something like it just speeds up the people beside them without specifying aim, did it?
I did not see that.
No, I mean, we talked about AIM so much for about a month, and then it feels like they're still great, but we just don't talk about them anymore because they do their job, but that's about it.
Yeah, just plop them in there and put them on auto. Don't really pay attention at this point.
Exactly. The level 4 upgrade for Mordo's passive was changed as well. Too many sorcerers. So a supernatural character can gain 1 to 2 ability energy from the death of a mystic. I think that's pretty close to what it was anyway. I don't think there's any hidden ones there. This one was pretty strange, though. Ant-Man's ultimate ability, Stomp. So the missing information on there was when you basically do that ultimate and he does the slow on everyone, if Wasp is on your team, the primary target actually gets 2 turns of slow, not the 1. That's something I did not know.
Oh, I did not know that either.
Yeah, I look forward to continuing not to use Ant-Man and Wasp regardless.
Yes.
But what are you going to do?
Take note of that when I put them on auto in Blitz.
Yeah, pretty much, man. So yeah, it's I mean, it's nice that they realize these things, but I mean, I think if we really reflect on that, when did Ant-Man release? Wasn't he in the first patch after the game's launch?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, so 2 and a bit years ago, and we're going, oh guys, you know that you're here. We've just been checking our own game, so that's pretty crazy.
You'll never believe what we found out.
I know.
Like, oh my god, he's gonna be meta now. Extra turn of slow.
He's going to be arena banner. Maybe the way he was promised such a long time ago.
Again.
Right. Exactly. Now, are you playing on iPhone or Google these days?
I am Google all the way.
I see.
I do not have a secret iOS account, despite reports to the contrary.
So many lies. So you obviously avoided a pretty massive issue. I think they went exceptionally high with... We've come to expect bonus content from Fox next whenever they do add a patch in, folks. Yes. And this week they went all out. I mean, what a gift.
Yes.
That you got a brand new game, literally, if you're on Apple. Because when you tried to log in, the game went, nah. Not happening, mate. You had to do a whole new installation. There was no option to do it. Now, this caused, I had so many messages this week with people looking for help because they weren't able to go into the game, Roy, and link the game with their Facebook account. And when they logged back in, all of a sudden they had a level 29 account. And it was consistent. All of them had level 29 accounts. It just reset them. And then they had to fight with customer service to prove who they were. And like some of these people didn't have their own photos of their player ID. It is an absolute show in what happened over there. So, I mean, having everyone having to install, I had to install 3 times to be able to get it to work. And then got hammered by our alliance for, why are you not attacking? It's like, mate, I can't even get into the game right now, bro. So that was a pain in the rectum. And then we had, that going on as well with people not able to get their accounts back. It's just unbelievable. And they put out a little bit of, I think, downtime because the downtime went for longer than expected compensation. But I think for those people that weren't able to log into their accounts for 2 or 3 days, I mean, come on, Fox. You've got to help those people out a bit because they've cost their alliances gear. You should be rewarding their alliances some compensation as well because it's not their fault. Like, they could not have gone in and linked it or backed up their account in any way to preserve it. Although I will say this, Roy. I was able to load into the game once. And it let me buy things, no problems at all. I bought the Taskmaster stuff because I was like, all right, I actually woke up at a decent hour. My kid's still sleeping. I'm going to buy Taskmaster. I'm going to do my video. And I bought Taskmaster, and then I couldn't get into the game. So it's funny how these things never, ever affect the ability to spend money. It only ever affects your ability to log into the game.
I'm shocked by that.
I do not think that's true.
I never could have foreseen that.
Right? Yeah, so, I mean, is this the second or the third Snappening? I know there's been at least one massive one.
I think it's the second one, but it hit Android, so I guess we're even now.
Yeah, I want to say
so I guess the next one will take us all out.
Yeah. I think there was one big one that affected everyone, but I can't remember the context. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt here and just say it's the second one. So, yeah, I noticed no reference to that in the patch notes. In the blog post, what are you going to do?
Yep.
All right. Now, upcoming very soon, we have the Shield, Assault, and Thor blitzes. So for many of us, it'll be a chance to have a few days off, or you can come and join the Blitz and Chill party with the rest of us. A brand new gold calendar. This is actually great news, Roy. Over the next week or so, if you log in every day, you're going to be pulling a cool 2 million gold just for logging in. Free stuff is always good stuff.
Yes, I'm actually running quite low, down to 6. So.
Oh, I've only got 6 million.
Very nice timing.
You and your first world problems. Oh, I've only got 40 reds left. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'll have 8 Elite Fours.
Now, I reread this blog post twice because I couldn't understand one of Cerebro's clapbacks on Reddit. So someone posted on Reddit basically saying, like a lot of us were, like, WTF, man? Like, why do we have Black Order with more coming out at the end of the month? And yet you guys are saying that Cull Obsidian's delayed. And, yeah, Cerebro came out and was like, he's not delayed. And it's like, well, in the patch notes and on the blog post, it said there's 3 new characters, and Cull's not one of them. It very clearly says Ebony Maw, Taskmaster, Ironheart. And they say, no, Cull's coming in the next couple of weeks to a blitz. We just don't know when. So, man, if you thought these blitzes were bad for Corvus, getting the last piece of that puzzle, tell me that's not going to be worse.
Yeah. They're probably pushing Ironheart back once again.
I wonder if they will, because I imagine she's blitz as well. Does that mean in 1 month you're going to have to blitz for Ironheart, Cull Obsidian, and Corvus? Ugh. Yep. I mean, if I was blitzing, I'd be furious, but because I'm not. I mean, I'm furious on behalf of those, but yeah, they need to figure out better ways of doing this, man. Because it must be so frustrating and life draining. And I'm going to say it like I do every week. Where is this blitz quality of life, guys? Just reach out to your buddies in China, download the code they're already using for the bots, copy it, because what are they going to do? Sue you? Come on. And then just use it in your game. I mean, if you guys are happy with Blitzbotters being in there, just code it in. You don't even have to do any work, right? They're probably coding it better than you would have anyway, Fox. Let's do it. Let's get it on. Make it happen.
Yes.
All right. Could you imagine that conversation at Fox next? It's going to be like a guy with like a hieroglyphics chart like in Stargate going, it just doesn't make sense. How have they done this? All right. Now, the Taskmaster campaign is coming on the 15th of May, Roy, where we will be using the covert tag. But before we talk about our covert teams, we got to talk about this Mercs team. Because last week we didn't have the full details of who would be in that team. But did you come up against many of them in War?
I did not get a chance to take one on yet, no.
So I was fortunate enough, well, unfortunate, depending on which way you look at it. So we called off War for Mother's Day, and there was one flight deck that had 2 Mercs open. So I was like, all right, well, since we basically said we're not competing, this is the chance to dick around. And yeah, they are impressive. That turn meter that they get out of the gate, and Taskmaster hits surprisingly hard at lower red stars. Because of those bleeds on that ult as well. Like, I was genuinely surprised what he was putting out and the work that he was doing all by himself. I couldn't imagine what he's going to be doing with 2 or 3 T4s stacked into his passive, ultimate, and his, one more, basic.
Well, what team were you trying to use against him?
Yeah, so I was trying to use like either punch-ups or line balls to try and see whether some of these teams we think are going to be pretty good counters for them can actually punch up or go line ball. So Supernatural, I think you do have to punch down into these guys. I was hoping that on paper, that kit looks very strong, but it's such a massive RNG component that if they decide they're going to unload with those early turn meters onto someone like Doctor Strange, it's over, right? You need a really, really big Ghost Rider to compensate. But the downside there is with that blind coming out early, if they rip that on the Ghost Rider, you lose so much of that initial damage that it's crazy. And you don't really have a good cleanse on that team. So you get your D up when Scarlet Witch goes. So I don't think that Supernatural is as good a counter as I thought they were going to be, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
It seems like Brotherhood is a bit of a mixed bag. It seems like old school Brotherhood's kind of like 50-50 on a line ball or a small punch down. The new Brotherhood, a lot of people early were saying, yeah, man, they crush it. But I've seen 2 cases now where at even power with the Toad and Blob Brotherhood, they haven't been able to get it done. So I saw Aimtron seems to wreck this team pretty hard because, of course, Scientist Supreme can just strip off those debuffs straight away. So you can just start attacking them. And they get a nice big speed bonus at the start too, as well as the Mercs. So it seems like AIM or Aimtron combinations can work. Only downside is there you can't use them against the Asgardians. So they're the main ones at the moment. I think most of your bigger teams are going to work, but that's kind of the catch, right? Is that if you have to use a Fantastic Four or an X-Men or something crazy like that, yeah, you're going to win, but you've just wasted that. So then if you get a big, Coulson or a big Asgard or something like that later, you're in trouble.
Yeah. I will say I've been loving the new Brotherhood. I did bring up my Blob and Toad finally, since they were added to Orbs. And even at just 3-3, level 65, tier 12, I'm loving Blob. He's quite beastly even at that low of a power 41,000. So I really look forward to when them making him more farmable so I can take him all the way up. To get benefit from the 7 red stars, he's going to be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I think a lot of us haven't really seen the full benefits of that team because they're not farmable. Like, I'm sure at top-end wars, there's a lot of people doing it, but, we've always said this. I always save my T4s and gear and everything for those essential teams that are going to be needed everywhere, or sometimes war defense. But, I skipped out on those 2 pretty hard.
Yeah, because I tried him against a lower Fury Coulson team. It just totally tore him apart. So
I can imagine.
It's just going to be absolutely ridiculous once I can get them up higher.
No, man, that looked good. So let's talk the covert team. So these are the characters that you can choose from. And look, it's a lot of characters. I think everyone's going to breeze through this pretty comfortably. I can't see them setting the difficulty too high. So for covert, you can use Taskmaster Karnak, Nick Fury, Minerva Quake, Shield Assault, Black Widow, Captain America, Psylocke, Shield Trooper, Yo-Yo, Falcon, Deadpool, Winter Soldier, Gamora, Mystique, Coulson, Merc Lieutenant, Loki, Bullseye, Wasp, Crossbones, Ant-Man, Merc Right Guard, Elektra, Red Skull, Elsa, Cable, and Nebula. I mean, I don't know why they just didn't say 30% of the roster. It would be fine. That seems like the most inclusive tag they've had in forever.
Yeah, I think so. God, I'm going to breathe
That's
through
good.
that so
yeah,
hard.
that's easy.
How is Shield Trooper covert?
Well, I guess the Shield, they're supposed to be like, covert and spies and as a team, I suppose. Because if you look at most of the characters there, they're just Shield tag, really.
Yeah, but no medics, strangely enough.
Oh, really? Let me double check. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, crazy.
Weird.
Yeah. And then like Red Skull and Elsa. Yeah, okay. Cable?
And then no Shield operative who stealths people.
Yeah, Crossbones is interesting.
enough.
Crossbones is interesting. I mean, Bullseye is not really stealthy. I don't know. There's some interesting choices. I mean, Deadpool, the merc with the mouth, he's not exactly sneaking anywhere quietly. He's announcing his way in.
Yeah.
There's the covert there. But yeah, man. Look, I mean, I think that's great that it's going to be so inclusive because that means that if you don't have an expansive roster, there's a lot of characters there. You're probably going to breeze through this. It doesn't seem like it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
I haven't had a look at the orbs yet. Have you taken a gander at what we're looking at for that?
They're not so good.
Oh, no, really? This is the master class.
Only other one you want is Karnak in there besides Taskmaster.
Well, at least there's in there. So let's have a look here. We've got, who's that? Is that Aim Assaulter or Security? That's Aim Assaulter, Ant-Man, Black Widow, Bullseye, Cable, Cap, Crossbones. Basically, it's all the covert people. Yeah, it is. It's literally everything we just read.
Except the really good ones.
Oh, God, that's not good. I mean, there's a 14% chance versus a 3.91 of everyone else of getting Taskmaster over everyone else. So, I mean, here's hoping. Where are you hoping to get him to by the end of the event?
I'll probably just go for 3. I'm not going to be refreshing. I don't have the cores. Even if I did, I probably wouldn't. So
yeah, that's fair. I think I have a fair chance of getting to 5 because I pulled a 60 on one of the orbs that I bought for the video. So I think that's going to get me pretty close. Like a 60 and a 20 or something within a couple of pulls. So I'm not going to spend any cores getting him there unless he gets to, like, say, 6 away from 130. But he's 4 yellow and 4 red now. So I'm kind of happy to just leave him where he is because I think he's one of those characters that if you leave that Merc team at, say, around just under 300, people are going to look at it and go, easy, right? I think if you leave a lot of those little 1%ers off, people are going to look at it and they're going to underestimate it. They're going to use something dumb and you're going to get the win. So, yeah, I don't think that team gets more than 1 win. That's the only thing I don't like about this team. They might get 1 good defensive win, but I can't see them getting repeats because of the cooldowns.
yeah, I mean, but that's really the best you can hope for in a lot of cases these days. If you're at the higher end of the things, it's like if you can get 1 win with them, then that's a definite bonus.
Let me tell you one thing that I've seen talked about a lot, and people got into me a little bit because I said, I think you might be wrong on this one, is who's the 5th character? Who do you put in this team? Because it's definitely Merc Riot Guard. It's definitely Taskmaster. It's definitely Merc Lieutenant. You could argue that even Bullseye's spot is up for grabs. But, I mean, where else are you going to use Bullseye, right? You might as well throw him in. So who's your 5th? So many people are saying Kingpin's the best 5th. And I do not see it at all. Because if you put him in, the DPS drop-off by not having either Merc Sniper, Killmonger, or Korath in that spot is insanely big. And then you're hoping for RNG versus guaranteed damage. It does not make sense. And everyone's saying, oh, yeah, but the Kingpin summons, they've got the Merc tag. And it's like, yep. And they're dead before they get a turn, meaning that Taskmaster's not going to assist a dead man.
Right.
So I honestly think it's hard for me to say. The fact that they did, and we didn't know this last week, the small changes that they made to these characters, mate, to make them a little bit better in this squad. You had Bullseye now gains an extra 10% accuracy and gives it to the whole team. Mercenary allies gain 10% crit damage. And then on war defense, assist allies on all non-attack abilities. Okay? That's okay, but there's not that many non-attack abilities, unfortunately. It's just Merc LT and MRG. Merc Lieutenant, though, he did pretty damn well, man. Like, he gets on his basic now. If you put a T4 into that, every Merc gets 1 energy. That's huge on a basic, man. That's absolutely huge. And then there's all the extra heals as well that he gives now, especially on war defense. He's pretty good. Now, one thing that really flew under the radar, though, is Merc Sniper. They changed it so that when he counters, he has the damage of that counter increased by 40%. And I heard from a couple of the Kraken alliances that with the way the energy drops out now, Merc Sniper ults twice in a row.
Oh, wow.
Well, does he special? Because obviously they don't have ults, technically. But apparently that damage and the assists, a lot of those guys, or the counters, sorry, a lot of those boys are saying that that's probably the best 5th because then you can leave your Korath and your Killmonger where they should be. So I do think that probably the best addition is the Killmonger because he brings the AoE and the sustain, but I could make a massive call for Korath. I could definitely see him causing some real upset in that team because between him and Merc and Taskmaster, there is going to be enemy taunts going out all the time.
Yeah.
Now, did you hear about the mistake they made this week about Merc Riot Guard?
No.
So in the kit that they released, and it's on the blog post, surprise, surprise, the blog post didn't match what went into the game, guys. So they got his description wrong. So they said that on the Merc Riot Guard's turn, he will apply 1 deflect up to a maximum of 4 to all adjacent allies. And that sounds okay, right? What if I was to tell you that's not how it works, Roy? What if I was to tell you that it actually applies 1 deflect to himself and adjacent allies up to a maximum of 4 on every enemy's turn?
God, that's a little bit better.
I know. Yeah, apparently some of the big boys picked it up real early going, what the hell? And so I'm actually going to change my team position because this makes a big difference. So I'm going to put my biggest DPS on either side of MRG now, where I was trying to keep them away. So they're a surprising team, man. I think probably Korath, Killmonger are definitely the best 5th, but you're basically cutting apart 2 teams there. And there's no point in doing so. So for me, I mean, I can finally use my 6 Red Star Sniper, Roy.
Yes, after all this time.
Yeah. I mean, in saying that, my Merc team got 1 shot. I mean, they were only, I think it was like 180 or something last week. I hadn't geared them up properly yet, but I'll take it. Yeah. So that's been a surprising little rework. We didn't think too much of them last week, in essence. But yeah, not bad. I think Bullseye, I would have loved to see him get a little bit more love. Yeah, and poor Merc Soldier, man. Like, I mean, Sniper only got like a basic change. Soldier just like, what about me?
Like, you're still the worst.
Exactly. Now, here's the thing I've been going back and forth on all week, is Ebony Maw and the Ebony Maw kit. We've now seen it. Have you had much of a chance to digest it?
Yeah, I thought it was looking pretty good.
I don't know. I think that team is going to be insane. The problem is the usability of Maw, I'm a little bit nervous about anywhere outside of that team or out of AW or Arena. So let's go through the kit, and I'll talk about the sticking points for me, mate. Right? And look...
hold on, real quick, I do want to say, since I've been experiencing the pain of Cosmic and DD3 for so long now, when you have that full team in there, they will be absolutely amazing in there, because he's going to give that instant turn to Thanos.
And then he's going to give the taunt straight away to Cull. Yeah, it looks good in that sense.
All the regen, death-proof immunity, absolutely amazing.
I don't doubt it. And I think a lot of people are going to do that for like raid nodes as well. I think like as a one-shot raid node, it's going to be okay as well. The DD3 thing I've been torn a little bit though, mate, because the cooldowns. Like, it's the cooldowns of Ebony Maw that let him down so much on paper, especially when he doesn't have the ability to distribute any energy. Like, there's no energy givers in the Black Order team. That's the main thing I'm nervous about. Look, I will be glad to be wrong on this one because, you know, there's some potential. And the main thing as well that we need to know about him is what does his attack stat look like at T14? Because that takes his basic from being what to right? So his basic, normal before the T4s, he's going to attack the primary target for 70% piercing damage, which is okay, and then attack another 2 times for 60% piercing damage. Now, if that target, then you apply a bleed, and if that primary target is a hero controller, you apply 2 bleeds instead. Okay? Now, when you upgrade that to a T4, it increases the primary target damage by another 10% and adds a third 60% piercing attack. So realistically, that becomes, what's that, 180, 240% primary damage plus 2 stacks of bleed, if it's a controller. If he has a good attack stat for reasons, that could actually be all right. But otherwise, for me, that doesn't make too much sense on him to have piercing damage and a bleed. It's the odd part.
Well, if he's, according to this, if he's T14 and 7 and 7, he has 21,000 damage.
Okay. So. Yeah, I mean, that'll get you there. If that's the case, then we might be all right, because it looks so out of place. Like that's a DPS's kit in that opening basic. So okay, that might make a little bit more sense.
And if something a little more realistic, if he's 5 red stars and 7 yellow, he'll still be 18,000 damage.
Okay. So he doesn't scale crazy well at the top end, but that's actually quite a good thing because you can just use him at T12. Yeah. All right, so his special, which is going to be available turn 1, it's a 5 energy cooldown. That's not too bad, especially considering what it does. So it's going to apply defense up for 2 turns when T forward, of course, to himself and all allies. Now that reeks of raid right there, especially because he's quite quick. I think he's about, what, 120? 122? 120, I think. 122. Okay, I thought I read that earlier week. Then he's going to apply a counter to himself and all Black Order and Thanos allies. Then he's going to apply offense down for 2 turns to all enemies. That's actually very good in things like DD3 or Raid.
Yes.
And then clear counter from all enemies. Now, you've probably noticed this in DD3 as well. Some of those counters in DD3, they wreck you harder than you want them to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually not bad. It's not bad. I don't know that is a cooldown that's worth 5 turns of downtime, though. You could have had that at 4 because it's so similar to what we see on Invisible Woman. And what's hers? Is she 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if that had been 1 less, I think I'd be a bit happier with this. Being at 5 is not game breaking, but here's the thing: his ultimate's on 7 turn cooldown, man, in a team that has no energy feed. Now, he is fast, all right, and there is some speed getting thrown around. That's good, but I am a little bit nervous about how long that is, right? Now, he's going to steal 3% health from all enemies and redistribute to all allies, and that bypasses heal block. This is a bit of a throwback to Minerva, and it's going to repeat this attack 4 additional times. But there's 2 caveats in here, Roy, that I really don't like. Did you see that they've capped how much health it can take? Yeah, so it's basically all based on him. It's all based on Moore. So how much health gets distributed to your team is based on a maximum 25% of his health, of Moore's health, which already makes it significantly less useful than Minerva in things like DD2, for example.
But it's for each attack, so it's 5 times.
Yes, but let me tell you why that's not as good too. Because it does it 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 and not as one upfront bit of damage, Roy, you're going to do 3%, and the first number, let's say it's 30,000 health they have at the start, right? You're going to take 3% off of 30, but then you're taking 3% off of 27, and then you're taking 3% off of 24. Right? Well, it doesn't work like that. Do you know what I mean? It's actually a thing that the further you go with each of those repeated attacks, it's actually doing less damage each time.
Is it 3% of what they have left or 3% of their total?
It says 3% health, and that's why knowing that will depend on how good this is, right? Because if it's 3% of their maximum health, I have no qualms with it. I think it's fine. But if it's 3% of current health, then they've deliberately coded that in a way that it becomes progressively less useful as you go down. And in fact, when you get to lower health allies, it could be detrimental. I'm hoping and assuming that it is max health, but the way they've worded it, it seems like it gives them a bit of an out.
Oh, God, that would be absolutely horrible if they did it remaining.
Oh, but we need to find out, right? Because it's not written in a way that makes sense. I've reached out to a couple of the Envoy boys to ask, but apparently Fox has been quite challenging, let's say.
The Envoys.
Yeah. So then he's going to, with that same thing, so he's going to steal 3% health from all enemies and redistribute. He's going to do that another 4 times. So the maximum here potential, if it is coded the right way, is 15%, like Roy said. Then it's going to apply slow to all enemies for 2 turns. Always good. Always good.
Yes.
Then, however, he's going to feel the speed bar for himself and all allies by 5% per Black Order and Thanos allies. Then he's going to reduce the speed bar for all enemies by negative 5% per Black Order and Thanos allies. So that's 20% up for you, 20% down for them. Unless he counts himself, which I'm assuming he doesn't.
That's pretty disgusting.
It's pretty good. I mean, a 40% swing is pretty great. And the fact that you're probably going to have speed up on a few characters still, and they're going to have speed down as well. Imagine characters like Venom. Like, that turn is not happening for quite some time.
Now, just looking at this, it's looking for raid. You might want to go less than full Black Order. So then you can have Thanos in his regular form feed energy to him.
Yeah.
And have like a Star-Lord feed energy to him. So you can constantly be defensing up, slowing them down, offensing down, removing their speed bar, boosting your speed bar, stealing their health. So he could turn out to be very, very nasty.
Yeah, so what this actually makes possible, mate, is something that we said all the way back in DD2, that eventually they're going to accidentally release the possibility for a raid team that you could just purely stack TM manipulators and potentially make a team that makes it so the enemy team never gets turned. Right? If you stack Falcon, Star-Lord, Thanos, and this guy together, and then you put one big DPS on the end... yeah, if you can survive that opening turn or two, you've got a chance.
So disgusting.
Yeah, it could be insane, man. So, I mean, I don't think it is because there's not enough defensive capability with just those two out of the gate. But we'll see. I mean, yours might be because you got the 7 reds on this guy. So with Thanos, you might be fine. But for the rest of us plebes, the 2 death proof is not enough.
Might have to throw Cole in there as the 5th.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, that's probably fair. The only thing is the Cole's probably going to die. We'll have to wait and see. All right, and then the passive. There's a fair bit in this as well. So on spawn, he's going to gain 2 regen, 2 death proof, and immunity for 2 turns. And then he's going to fill an ally Thanos' speed bar by 25% per Black Order ally. Now that does mean, unfortunately, Roy, that Thanos is not going to immediately go first. He'd probably be very close to it most of the time, but it doesn't guarantee it.
Yeah.
Because it's only going to be, 25%. Well, actually, that's a good point.
Unless he counts himself.
Yeah, if he counts himself, but that says per Black Order ally, so Thanos won't count as one.
Yeah.
So it might only be 25%.
They don't count Maw as one.
That'd be interesting to see how they do that. If that doesn't count as one, then you actually get no turn meter benefit from just the 2 of them. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah.
It's got to count as... He must count himself. Because there's only 4 Black Orders. Yeah. And if they guarantee... Yeah, right. It must be. It must be. All right, so on ally Thanos' turn, if he doesn't have the reality, time, or soul stones, grant him +2 regen, +2 death proof, and immunity for 2 turns. You can only do this once per match. Now, this is the awesome one that I think if it does have raid or DD3 viability, Roy, this is it. If he is on the death of an enemy, hero controller, he's going to gain charge stack for himself. He's going to apply immunity to all allies. That's the big takeaway here. And then barrier all allies for 20% of Maw's health as well. If charged, on enemy turn, apply ability block to all hero controller enemies and then lose charge. This can't be dodged. There are certain raid nodes where that is insanely good.
Yeah.
Insanely good. Like, this would have been pretty great to have in some of those global nodes with the 2 Phoenixes, like node number 7. I know you can't use him in global, but damn, it would have been great to have him there.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a few in Ultima 7 where I'd probably sub out someone to bring him in just for the immunity and the barrier alone, because it adds another layer of preventative. I'd probably drop Yo-Yo, for example. Yep, you lose a little bit of DPS from the Black Bolt, but the extra reliability and less RNG of just getting murked by something because Foxnext decided to add a 0 to the enemy attack that day, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because who is hero controller these days? We should probably talk about this list so that people have an idea of how good this can actually be. So let's do
Phoenix, Doctor Strange,
and hero. So you've got Karnak, Mr. Fantastic, Phoenix, Star-Lord, Storm, Jessica Jones, Vision, Quake, Black Widow, Okoye, Mantis, Coulson, Hawkeye, Ant-Man, and Scarlet Witch. Any of those characters dies. Right?
Yeah.
You are going to get 20% barrier. You are going to get immunity to your entire team, right? And that means that the next controller that drops down can't do anything because you're going to resist it. It's blocked. That'll huge, be lovely. Man. That is huge.
That'll be lovely for Node 12 and DD3 with the Scarlet Witches and Doctor Stranges.
Well, see, I might have him by then. So, I mean, I might get lucky in that sense. So, I mean, I see him as a situational raid god. right? I think that you bring him in like maybe once or twice a raid, and he's going to do his job fantastically. Either that, or we're going to have to really go back to the drawing board, Roy, and find out, okay, if I put a Star-Lord next to this guy, where can I find the damage back? Like, is it worth that mitigation? Like, if you get him enough of that, could you do something like drop Shuri? Because he's getting his defense up a little bit after her, but still early enough that it's probably going to be okay.
Right.
Yeah, because still an offense down to everyone and defense up for everyone. That's a better opening turn than you've got out of Shuri. Yeah, but she does hers faster, and she does have that energy, I guess. But I think you're going to have to build... If this guy is good in raids, you're going to have to build the team around him. That's the only downside. Yeah. And then the question becomes, okay, is there a raid squad that is basically 4 Black Orders plus an energy feed?
You can't even have that because you'd lose Thanos.
You'd lose that Thanos, but you'd still have the other one.
Well, no, it's 4 Black Order, then you have to have Thanos as the 5th.
Oh, I'm saying drop one of the Black Orders is what I mean. Like, so, sorry, all 5 of them I think of as Black Order. So what I'd say is, yeah, you probably end up having to drop... Look, I don't think you want to drop Proxima. And the problem with Cull is if you drop him, the DPS goes down. So I just don't know what that hybrid squad looks like if it's not just Thanos and more. It seems like they're the only 2 that are going to pair out for raids. And then it's like, well, energy feed this guy... and then bring in just your 2 strongest AoE DPS. So bring in a Black Bolt and maybe, I don't know, Spider-Man, or you could even bring in, I don't know. I just don't know about this guy. I don't...
Or Falcon.
Yeah, the only problem is you still need that damage, man. Like, he's going to give you the turn meter manipulation, which is great, but if you're not getting a lot of damage out at the same time, it's not really going to matter. You still have to be able to kill them in the time frame. And... surviving better is great, and not having to use any heal energy is great. But if you're running out of energy to get the attacks done for Ultima 7, you still got the same problem. So,
well, on Ultima 7, when I'm running Thanos and Black Bolt. That's my damage. So I'm like one-shotting almost everything.
The downside for the rest of us, unfortunately, man, is we don't have a 7 red star Thanos. See, the thing is, I don't think Thanos is usable at less than 6. I really don't. In Ultima 7. Yeah. And when we talk about like sliding those raid sliders up shortly, which is our next piece of news, like tell me that like even your 7 red star Thanos is not going to be under the pump, you know? Yeah. It's just, I mean, I think that he's very, very red star dependent. Admittedly, when you've got more, he's going to have a lot better time now because obviously he's going to start the match with 2 regen. Those 2 death proofs are going to be insanely beneficial. And then the immunity as well. Yeah. I mean, the fact that he can still get his taunt off guaranteed, but do you want that? Like, I think that he dies enough that you kind of have to bring in a resurrection character if you're using Thanos. That's the only downside.
If he's less than 7, yes.
If he's less than 7. Yeah, that's exactly the thing. Because, I mean, empowered Thanos, like, I mean, who knows, man? Like, maybe you put that team together, and with good red stars, maybe they can last a good couple of raid nodes. I think they're going to be one of those ones that absolutely explodes through one node, and then they're done. Yep. Yeah, I think they're going to be like X-Men.
I mean, if we get enough of those, that's all you need for the hard nodes.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have the X-Men, then we'll have this, so... really only need 1 or 2 more.
Oh, look, I think you could do it with probably just those 2 because you don't have to have every person use their X-Men on one node. Like realistically, the Ronin node that's too shottable right now with sacrifice teams. Like you use a modified X-Men squad with a charged storm. 2 of those will murder that node, the Ronin in the middle, and then it's like okay, well then I could go to War Machine and I could just use one of these sacrifice squads there. Or, you know, then the people who haven't used it on War Machine, they've got it stacked up for the, what's the last one? Ultimates. So I think it's very doable. Yep. With just having Black Order being a 1-node explosion and then having X-Men being 1-node explosion, I think that's enough to probably guarantee most alliances who have those 2 teams are 100% on that raid.
Yep.
But I just...
That's not even counting Black Bolt and whoever you want to put with it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, look... I'm hoping that the speed here is enough, man. I really do. Like, I really do hope that the speed on these characters is enough and that I'm wrong. But I think that he's going to be a god when it comes into any match that lasts maybe 2 to 3 turns. But I think matches that go longer than that, he's going to have these massive spikes and troughs. I just don't know that he's good enough to be consistent everywhere.
Yeah, I think you can somewhat get around it with Proximus, and then you can bring her offense down on the big threats, and then she has the stun, so you might be able to get around his longer cooldowns somewhat.
Yeah, possibly. I just don't know. We'll have to wait and see the team in action. That's the reality here. Like, we just need to see this team in action before we can make that call. The downside is we've already made our investment by the time we get to that point. You know what I mean? Like, we've already had to go balls deep on everything to get to that point. And yeah, if they disappoint at that level, there's going to be a lot of people who spent or are long-term free to play are going to be really upset, and all the mid-game players and casuals are going to go, "Meh, suck it, nerds." That's what you get.
Wakanda 2.0.
Oh, man. Wakanda 2.0, as I said, that would push me pretty close to the edge of quitting if they've lied that hard about this team for even just arena. But yeah, I keep saying that the more I see these kits, it's a wonderful team. But I don't know that it's enough to just have these at 4 or 5 yellows with a couple of red stars and be enough to overthrow the current arena. I just don't. Because if they've got 200k on you, you have to have a hell of a lot of power creep. In saying that, Cull Obsidian, he is one hell of a ball of stats, man. He has some numbers. So yeah, he's half brawler, half protector right there. So we'll see.
Yep.
All right. So raid difficulty selected didn't quite sneak it into the start of this patch, but we're believing we're going to see it in the next little while. Now, I'm going to say that's officially it didn't make it into the game. I think it did make it into the game. They just didn't tell us about it because it seems like the health pool on many nodes in Ultima 7 has been reduced, but the damage output on some of those nodes is feeling very DD3-ish.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Definitely noticed that on our push raid the other day.
I got murked twice by a Korath through a defense up, and I was like, what? So that was a T14 character, and you just nuked it from everything to nothing with no offense up, no defense down on my side? How? Yeah.
Like, sounds legit.
Because I'll tell you who the biggest threat is, man. Like, I've been saying for a while, the biggest threat in Ultima 7 when we got Black Bolt was unfortunately the Lokis and the Mystiques, right? Because they can make you murder yourself and you can't res. Yep. No. The real big threat, if you have a look at the back end, like the hardest part, the biggest threat on the map, who do you think it is? For once you get past the halfway of Ultima 7, who's the biggest threat on the map?
There's quite a lot. The ones that can one-shot you.
Yeah. So this might sound like a big call. It's Kree Noble.
Why? Oh, because
the way they've managed Kree Noble is always next to something that will kill you, right? And they've always got a buffer somewhere, so that's probably coming in assisted with massive damage from her with a character that's probably got offense up as well. And not only that, mate, is that you're like, okay, well, I'll get my Scientist Supreme, not a big deal. And then, of course, you remember, oh, crap, that's right. Passively, Kree Noble always takes off at least 1 debuff. If they're Kree, it takes off at least 2. And guess what they keep doing on a lot of those big nodes, like the Ronin node? There's always 2 of them that drop at the same time. So what ends up happening is that Scientist Supreme is probably becoming more of a liability. I think you're probably better off going in with Symbiote Spider-Man on that node. I've been testing every variation possible recently, and it's pretty similar in every regard. But on those days when they basically cancel out yours and you haven't flipped it yet, it's over. Yeah. And you know who they always call in on that one? Jugs. Yep. That Jugs hits hard, dude. Yeah, and there's normally a Ronin in there just to make sure that, if they didn't cleanse it the first time with the Nobles, that they've got you on the back end. So, yeah, man, that's big. And being able to call in that with this bonus damage that seems to be lurking in the background of the code at the moment is nightmarish in there right now. Yep. All right, now, I don't know. It doesn't seem like this worked properly either. The Summoners apparently finally had their rework, so to speak, in that Red Stars and Stark Tech would apply to every character's minions now. I've only noticed one character that's gotten better. Everyone else doesn't feel different. What about you?
I've definitely noticed on my Fury, they definitely have a little more survivability and they punch a little harder. So it's been a nice little boost for him. But once again, he's at 7 red stars, so it's going to be a lot more noticeable.
Well, let me tell you my story, my friend. So you warned me ahead of time, as many people did. Don't take a minimalist squad, or make sure you got enough DPS when you go into Node 7 DD3 to take care of the Iron Fists. Not a problem for me. Killed the first one in no time at all, because I made sure that I focused all of my primary attacks on the Iron Fist. But you know what I saw? And it happened twice. Scientist Supreme comes out of the gate early. All right, so turn 1, Fury does his summons. The next turn that comes around is Scientist Supreme, and you're gonna wait for the rotation to get a defense down and a speed down. Then the securities go. And when you get that stun, he doesn't self-heal. So that happened to me twice. So I blitzed through those Iron Fists, thanks to Nick Fury and Scientist Supreme of all characters, with no dramas at all. I'm nearly finished 7. I've only been in there for about 5 days. Yeah. Nice. Again, like the fact that I talked to so many people about, as long as you use all of your single target damage, you don't have to bring in a 5th, or you don't need a big DPS. It's very doable. But man, I'm telling you now, it was made so much easier by playing the RNG game there. And those summons definitely lasted longer than I expected them to. I expect them to get nuked right out of the gate.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be able to get away with that back when I did it before that buff. So they would not live long enough to get the stun lock off.
Speaking of bugs too, man, it is 100% still happening that these characters that are supposed to apply health boosts, like say, give 30% extra health to mutants or something like that, they are definitely healing at the start of those nodes.
Well, some of it's like a buggy display, because I've noticed with Green Goblin in particular, he comes down, like his health goes up, but when you hit him, it goes right back down. So there's some like visual bugs they have in there in addition.
Yeah, the X-Men one's definitely still in full terribleness. And I had one bug that really frustrated me the other day. So I killed a Phoenix and went, all right, phew, that's done. Now the Dark Phoenix won't respawn. Nope. Came back as full health, normal Phoenix. And I was like, seriously, no. Fox? I was so pissed off, man. That cost me a whole day, realistically.
Yeah, there's been some weird bugs where it's like you're in the middle of the thing and like the next wave comes down and then you die and then you go in the next day and then that wave that came down isn't there. So it's like, okay, this is easier. But then on the flip side, on the node 12, it's like I killed the Doctor Strange, so there's 9 guys left. No one else came down. I go back in the next day. There's a 10th that drops down. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Just right at the start. So it's so weird how they have the waves. It's like you can't really plan to what happens because it's weird stuff happens from time to time.
Oh, absolutely, man. And that's, as you say, like anyone that's trying to like outthink DD3, come on. It's not going to happen. It's just about having enough characters to get through it. So, I was surprised by that.
Be very clear, the right characters. Node 12 is horrific with anyone that isn't fast. Because Loki's my only fast one, and then like 5 of the enemies can go. So I'm reduced to just doing solo runs with him to get an energy so I can get to his mind control to do damage. Right. And then I have to do it so I can get the 2 energy feed from Thanos so I can do it again sooner. Otherwise, I'm not doing anything some days. Because just everything kills me before anyone else gets a turn.
Because there really isn't a cosmic that speeds up the whole team, is there, out of the gate? I'm just trying to think. Invisible Woman doesn't. She's actually quite slow. No, Storm's global. She kind of does the sporadic speed up anyway. And she's global. That's actually quite surprising.
That's pretty tough. So that's why Proxima is actually a pretty good choice, because she's so fast, and then she can do the offense down. She can have a stun. So she's a pretty good choice. But
well, let me ask you this question. If you could only pick one of them based on what you've seen for that node, would you take in more or would you take Proxima?
I'd take Hela. She's number 1.
Wow. Assuming she was going to be in the team no matter what.
You should be okay, because, I mean... They're going to hit that. They're going to hit Greg. He's going to reduce their speed bars.
Yeah,
it'll be a little less painful. But yeah, it's very bad not having Hela. But of those two, yeah, I'd take Proxima because Maw's. Well, no, actually, since I have Thanos, I'd take Maw. But if I didn't have Thanos in there, I would take Proxima.
Yeah, I don't know, man. She's so squishy, though. She's so squishy.
Everyone is on that note.
That's true, yeah. But she's squishy in normal life, man. Imagine what she's going to be like. I mean, I have a 4 red, 6 yellow. So mine should be demonstrable of what she's going to look like, in PvP. And with how much she gets murked right now, it's not on. It's not on. And that's with full T4s, too. 75, T12. I didn't take her up to T14 yet because I want to see the lay of the land before I get Wakanda'd.
Yeah.
I just need to, man. I just need to. We'll see.
Yes.
We will see. All right, let's get into the main topic of the week. So much news this week. Man, it took us an hour and 10 minutes to get through all of that shenanigans.
Yes.
Live PvP. The node that everyone loves and has put so much more pressure on content creators. It's not even funny. Everyone wants a piece of us, man. The day that got released, did your inbox just explode with these invitations?
Yeah, it's really clunky and not good because if you just not happen to be on there looking at the time you get a challenge, there's no way to do it. So they should have I wouldn't want them to popping up and notifying every time you got a challenge because that would be annoying too. But I mean, it should have its own mode on the main screen instead of just trying to have to go through the chat.
Well, I was streaming the night that it came out, and that was really frustrating, actually, because I'm trying to do my raid nodes, and it's just like, this person's still waiting on you to click the button, and you're like, but I'm not going to do it,
You should have turned the chat off, probably.
Yeah, I know.
Until you're ready to do it.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They know when to hit the button. They know when to do it, and it's hard because everyone wants a piece of you, and it's quite challenging being a content creator at the moment. I'm sure no one feels sorry for us, but the reality is, it's a lose-lose. Because if you beat someone, they're just going to be like, I'm never going to be the content creator, blah, blah, blah. But if you do lose, they're like, see, he's terrible. He knows nothing, that bloke. It's just not good. Well,
I think I didn't, because I did a bonus stream on Thursday, and everyone's real cool about it, so I had a lot of fun doing it.
They were
mostly it was our
patrons
as
well, yeah.
Yeah, it was most of our patrons, but there were other regular viewers. Other people came in. Everyone was cool, no matter win or lose. So I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's literally a playground. In some of the matches I lost, it was 100% because I'm like, all right, this is a bad idea, but I'm going to take Proxima and Corvus anyway. Because I want to.
Yeah, let me try this.
I want to see. I want to see. So yeah. But look, it's definitely interesting. I played a modified rules game with a guy the other day from our Patreon where he said, hey, man, I got a much smaller roster than you. Can we make a rule that we can't use anything above 75k? I'm like, yeah, man, no worries at all. Now, what I didn't realize is he only has 2 characters above 75, and they were ones that we were going to ban anyway. So what that realistically was about a ban on about 12 characters for me that I would normally want to pick. So I couldn't touch... those ones that sometimes make it through, like Sinister. Who else? Who else have I got there? Sinister, Captain Marvel, all those kind of Sinister, Symbiote Spider-Man. I had all of those at 78, 79. I was like, damn it. So I had to pick just the weirdest squad. And of course I got flogged, But, he chose a good team, but he was able to choose meta characters because of it. So it's those sort of rule adaptations, I think, when they introduce different variants of this are going to become a big thing. So let's talk about this. Who are your must-ban characters right now?
Mostly it's always Phoenix, Black Bolt, Hela. Who's the other one? Those are the big ones. Mm-hmm. Let me see. People love banning my Thick Nose and Big Daddy Fury. You're monsters. No really other must bans. Usually you just try to ban the centerpiece of any synergy they're trying to get going for the last ban.
Yeah, and that's
if they have a stupidly high Captain Marvel, something like that, ban that. But otherwise, she's easy to deal with.
So about 2 or 3 matches in, I stopped banning Phoenix.
Why is that?
Well, because they're going to pick them. And the thing is, strategically in the back of their mind, they're going to expect you to ban the Phoenix at the last minute, right? Mm-hmm. Phoenix is so manageable, it's not funny, because you don't have to hit her. And if you don't hit her, she doesn't get to do the Phoenix things. Right? So that has won me a lot of the matches that I have won. I haven't played thousands of matches, but the ones that I have, it's just trying to get into their head. Like, honestly, I would say every game that I've played so far, with the exception of maybe one, the game was won on the character select screen.
Yeah.
100%.
A lot of blowouts.
Oh, I said a few times, I said, man, I've lost this. Like, we haven't even got to the final ban. It's just like, this is over, kid, right? Yep. Especially the first two, because, of course, I had not watched the Valley Cass vid of when they actually did the PvP, so I didn't know about, like, the last counter ban. I'm like, oh, what the hell? It was like the character I built everything around is gone. I'm like, all right, I get it now. And probably the biggest piece of advice I give to people as well is that don't give your synergy away, right? It's like, if you're going to put in a mags, don't put your jugs in next, right? Because, you know, if you're sitting on a 6 red jugs, I know what you're going to do, and I'm going to ban the jugs, right? Straight away.
Right.
What you're better off doing is going, all right, what is something that's big and ugly, and he's going to think that's the big threat, right? So you put in a Captain Marvel or a Sinister or something you know they're going to take out. And then on the last ban, you bring in that obscure character that brings in the synergy. I've won 3 matches now where that character was Carnage, because they banned like a Sinister or a Captain Marvel, and little symbiote Spidey was just sitting there going, hey, Carnage, buddy, you want to come play? And then it was on. It was on, right? And then now there was one where I knew what this guy was going to do. I knew what he was going to do. So I put my jugs in after he picked his Magneto. Right? Because I thought, well, he's 5 reds. I'm going to be able to do enough damage with this guy. If he doesn't ban him out, it's fine. Like, I've got a Taunter. He's got immunity. Like, he's going to do fine. And it completely screwed him up, unfortunately. So it's all about those weird counter picks. And sometimes it just doesn't go your way. My streak of vision, not ability blocking when he should be, continues.
I had that streak also. I picked him. He was horrible. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. There are 1%ers that may have made the loss a little bit less, but I was still going to lose that match. Let me be very clear. I'm not using that as an excuse. But seeing it and just going, oh, God, really? Like, because one of them was, one of my favorite things at the moment is there are 2 picks that a lot of people are using that I didn't expect them to do, but they're actually very meta for this game mode. And that is Scientist Supreme and Falcon.
Yeah, Falcon's a nightmare.
I will ban, if I see an Invisible Woman early, I'm banning a Falcon the next thing. Right? Do you know what I mean? I'm not letting that Falcon go in. Because if I've got a Shuri, or everything's got buffs these days. So, yeah, I'm banning Falcon more often than I'm banning Phoenix, bro. Right? My first ban is always Ultron. Always. Because you know they're going to ban my Black Bolt, right? Because it's 6 reds. Yeah. And the reality is, if there's no Black Bolt, Ultron's a problem. Yep. And he's far enough down the roster that you can kind of panic within that 45 seconds. And you're like, oh, God, if you don't scroll that far, you forget Ultron. And that happened to me on, I think, my second fight ever. And I'm like, and then he picked Ultron at the end. I'm like, oh, yeah, Ultron's a thing. Oh, that's right. I remember now. And then, of course, I got decimated, right?
But actually, there's a thing in the roster now where you can favorite them for versus battle.
I saw that.
So I'm doing that right now.
Does it show them that, or only you?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing it, but maybe people didn't know about it yet, because you see their roster at the beginning, but then you only see yours. So actually, that's one thing you need to work on, is try to remember their good characters, like, in your mind, because you won't get another look at it. So that's something I have to try to remember to do. It's like, okay, what good characters do they have that they might pick?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's all about that ban pick at the end. So every time I see a character go up on the board, and look, don't get me wrong, I don't think I'm even close to the best at this mode. If you ask me about Raid, boom, I'm there, right? But you say about PvP, no, I'm still getting my head around this. But I can say this, is that when I started looking at, okay, he's picked a symbiote Spidey. While he's doing his next thing, I need to look at his Venom and Carnage. When I see a Mr. Sinister come out, I need to have a look at his mutants real quick. If I see an early Mags, I know there's a death jug somewhere, right? All those things. If you start looking at what's that thing, then the idea is you need to try and screw up their last turn, because you know that they're putting in fodder at the start where they're like, okay, on paper, yes, the Captain Marvel looks like the thing I need to ban. But it turns out, no, the Falcon being there is way worse. Do you know what I mean? Or, you know, having symbiote Spidey. Look, if they have a big carnage, ban Spidey, right? Ban symbiote Spidey, because it is not going to go well for you. Especially if you've got a Hela, because man, you can make people pay for using Hela if they let you get your symbiote up. With carnage, because you just keep Greg punching. Yep.
Greg punching.
Yeah, because if they don't have a Loki, like it's only really healing Hela, and you can use that turn meter advantage to just kill the rest of their team and slow them and stun them and just keep going. So, yeah, there's some ugly things that can happen. And then every now and again, people outthink themselves too. Like someone the other day let me have my Hela. And what else did I have? Oh, and a symbiote Spidey. So, of course, it was symbiote did the D up, D down. She did the ult, and it was just over.
Oh, God. So, one of my favorite counter picks is when they had like Magneto and then like one or two other debuffers. So I picked Psylocke and then just threw everything right back on.
Oh, really?
They're like, oh!
That's pretty good. I've been using some Scientist Supreme when I see Mags, right? Because you kind of get the best of both worlds there. Because if they, so I usually try and get like a Vision and Scientist Supreme together when I see that. So the D-up's there. But you get the ability block out on their Mags. Because if they've only got one mutant, he goes quite slow, right? So if you can't get the ability block off and you get blinded, you just go, oh, I'm just going to use the special on Scientist Supreme, flip that into, I think it's stealth. Maybe. And then away you go, right? So just carry on. So yeah, I think there's some of those characters that are really good in raids are good here. And there's one combination that most of the time I can't tell if it's a good decision or a bad decision. I'm seeing a lot of people pick both Shuri and Invisible Woman on the same team.
I guess if you're going for a more defensive, grind it out. But I always grab Invisible Woman if I can at the beginning. But sometimes they ban her or grab her first. But I usually only do Shuri if they get off the Loki Captain Marvel combo or something like that. Then I just bring her in for the quick D up. Because otherwise she's not really doing much.
You see, I think a lot of people, because I pick a lot more sort of DPS-y characters or countery characters, a lot of people just kind of go, oh, he's not going to have any defense up. So I'm going to stack all the defense up characters on my team. And then they've only got like one or two DPS, right? And then quite often I'll still get like Minerva. All right, so then they have to waste their damage on Minerva, and they're only chipping away relatively slowly. She's T14, 4 reds now. Actually, she might be 5 reds. Did I get an upgrade on her a while back? Yeah, she's 5 reds. Only 6 yellow, though. So, now she's harder to drop than you think.
One thing you can do by going like the more turtley protective one, all you got to do is if you can sneak your Sinister in there, then you just clone their DPS. And then
so funnily enough, that's exactly what I did to their Invisible Woman. Because I'm like, I don't need one on my own. I've got yours.
Like, I'll take that.
Yeah. So look, I mean, that part of it's really fun. Like, but what I really hate is that when on the character screen, when the last ban and picks are in, and you go, I've already lost this. Now I have to sit here for 6 minutes and grind this out. This sucks. You know what I mean? Like, you could just quit early, but I mean, you know, as content creators, you kind of have to take the good with the bad. You kind of have to let them have their moment in the sun and then go on to every Discord and Reddit and just go on, you know, I killed the giant. And we're just like, all right, buddy. And we've already seen that go to just at a whole nother level with one of the content creators at the moment where the community's gone after them very hard. I have not seen that before. That's crazy.
Couldn't happen to a better guy.
Don't start that again. Don't start that again. Look, it's hard, man, because, everyone wants a piece, and that's the thing. Like, this is supposed to be fun, and the people that come in are just trying to bring hate on it all, and, losing one match is not indicative of the fact that you are, now the greatest in the whole world. It means that you got lucky on a pick one time, and for us, it doesn't make us any better because we won one or we lost one either, so... Yeah. It's one of those modes. I think every match is going to be different, and some of them are going to be 1% games. Like I think you're going to get some picks once this is all really settled down, where they really are very close, and then you're going to get something like a blind doesn't stick, or an ability block like vision doesn't land. You're like, oh, that's it, it's over. Do you know what I mean? Like those 1%ers matter. Like I had one the other day where I was sort of trying to go a little bit too meta for my own good, because this was the match where I had to do the under 75, and I was like, all right, I could probably cobble like a hybrid Fantastic Four, right? And it doesn't matter that you've got a big torch. He's still so squishy, right? And he was just about to get his ult off, right? It was just about to get it. And you know what happened? The Fury on his team got the assist. Right? So I had just enough health to do what I needed to with an offensed up torch, and then the Fury got the assist on a character that wasn't a shield, right? And you're like, oh no, it's over. Now, then I got saved because the Scientist Supreme resurrected the Johnny, but then he killed it again before it came back around. So it just goes to show, man, that those 1%ers can go both ways. Like when I saw the res, I'm just like, I ain't heard no fat lady. And then it was just like, I know, she's singing. Yeah. So look, I think it is fun, but I'm not going to lie, man, like especially the public games, I do find it incredibly stressful, because if we've seen anything, you and I, this week with our personal experiences, is that being a content creator, it does put a target on your back. Like there's higher expectations from us. And, if you don't perform at a certain level, people come at you in a way that is just, held to a different account to other people.
Well, thankfully, I avoided that on my one stream. Maybe that will change on my next one, but I mean, it was just nothing but fun. I have fallen into bad habits because I play people that their roster is weaker, so it's like I kind of get into this pattern of like, okay, I can pick this because I don't have to be like perfectly and good, and then I face someone with a really strong roster, and I just get obliterated.
Oh, look, I still maintain what I said last time is true, is that people that have the 30 or 46 reds, they are going to win more often than they lose, because the depth of roster and the counter picks that they have are just going to be better than what you have, right? If they can go deep, and they'll go, hey man, ban the big six, I don't care. You can have a Phoenix, you can have this, because they've got something in their pocket. You could have a 7 red Korath, I think could like really upset a lot of teams. There's some of these like really clutch characters, 7 red Falcon. I mean, I wish I had one of those right now. I think Falcon is probably one of the most underrated characters, and probably I see him used or banned in almost every match I'm in these days. I try and get him more often than not, to be honest.
Well, yeah, because they can do the special first turn,
exactly.
And that's just absolutely
huge.
Ugly.
Especially if they picked a Shuri. If they picked a Shuri, man, my God. I see that, and if they let me have my Falcon, it's over. Like someone went to me the other day, hey man, you banned my Falcon and not my Sinister. And I went, yup. And he's like, why? And I said, trust me,
sir.
I didn't win that match if you had that Falcon. It was over. He goes, but he was only 4 reds. I went, did not matter. Did not matter, bro.
No matter.
That's not why you put him in.
Well, he's the special.
So, it is fun. And it has got the juices going with theory crafting, which is great. But yeah, I'm not going to lie. I do find that mode pretty stressful, because I think if I was anonymous, sitting behind a keyboard like everyone else, not a problem. Not a problem. But when I know that if I lose to the wrong person, and, it's like, someone we've had beef with before, it's just like, then it's going to be over about 12 discords of, look at this screenshot, man, what a scrap, man. Yeah, so that kind of stuff is irritating, but it is part of our job, I guess. That's why they pay us the very, 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 very medium bucks. Yeah.
Yes, that's why we're swimming in the big piles of cash.
God, I wish that was true.
Like
if I was swimming in big piles of cash, I would not be stressful at all. I'd be like, I will lose every day. Please get it on. So yeah, It is what it is. All right. Any last thoughts about it before we get into questions? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions on PvP this week.
I think it just has huge potential. All the different like restrictions and different modes they could add to it. Like an all balance mode, all 7 yellow mode, all kinds of things. So then, I mean, it just has huge potential. I hope they can realize it and not just turn it into like another cash grab thing down the road.
Yeah, I think if they're going to do real
An
tournaments
RNG
for
fest.
rewards and stuff like that, you can't use our rosters. You have to use a fixed roster like a test server. It's the only way you can do it.
Yep.
Because otherwise, it's just going to be about which whale had the most sevens. It really is, because you can
Right.
you know, you can theory craft till the cows come home, but you're still starting off with a minimum 15, 20, even sometimes 30% disadvantage if you don't have that. So. All right, Patreon on-air questions first. We do look after those that look after us, so we guarantee their questions every week, and then we get as many of your free-to-play questions as we can. So Michael, first of all, says, do you think they added Red Star Orbs as an achievement reward for playing PvP? I've already forgotten that happened, right? As a result of backlash from them removing Chaos Theory. I actually think that's exactly what it was. It was way too generous by Foxnake standards to not be the case.
Yeah, like, wait, this doesn't seem right.
Yep, way too thing. Irish Avenger, can you explain why they choose to do the whole repeat 4 times thing? Maw has it and Shuri has it for healing. It's basically to reduce its effectiveness in a lot of situations. So you have to be careful when you use it so it's not too overpowering. I mean, you know, when you see a heal block on a character in Ultima 7 that's not a Wakandan, man, you know they're going to die. Right, because Shuri can't touch them. And every now and again, I won't see it because, like, especially when I used to use Ultron, like with so many minions, you're like, that's on a minion, this is fine. And nope, just 4 heals into that. With this one, I think it's to try and stop what happened in DD2 Irish. I think they're trying to make it so we don't see a character roll into DD3 that just destroys by being able to rip off health in Cosmic, the same way that Phoenix has been doing in Global.
Yeah. Now on Shuri, it's because it can target different ones, so that's why that's better. But for the Maw one, it's different.
Yeah, definitely, man.
And also, it's like the Maw one, they probably split it up that way. So if something dies, and then you're going to get less on each successive one.
Yeah, well, we think that's the case, right? Like, I mean, we need to try and figure out exactly what's happening there. Like, I need an answer on that from one of the envoys. If you're listening, please.
No. I mean, like, because there's less targets on each successive one.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well, that and what we were talking about before as well. Like, I mean, the reducing returns potential if it's coded that way versus the other is crazy. Yep. All right, Domino. As someone in Alliance that is newly starting Ultima 7, we're hitting 30% minimum, which is good. I've got one of the higher TCPs in the Alliance, so I got put on the middle lane. Oh, bro. Now that I have Black Bolt, it's easy sailing up to the Ronin mini-boss, one-shotting most, if not all, the previous nodes, and then epic fail. I've never seen a Korath or a Kree minion summon one-shot anything. Did I not tell you? It's all about those Kree nobles, man. Because on that first drop, you got 2 Kree nobles, a Ronin, and that Jugs. Like, you really can't leave any of them. All of them are bad times.
Do you think it'd be worth bringing in someone that can blind on the first attempt?
It can help, but the problem is, man, is that it's on their passive, so the blind's not going to matter because they're going to remove it before they take their turn, and they go faster than the Ronin, so then he can do his thing as well. They've kind of built that so that you cannot use, for most cases, your debuffs. Like, it's designed that their attack is going to be probably with offense ups. That's what they want to happen. So that's why it's so easy to fall down. So if you want, like, if you're so early into this now, first of all, congratulations on getting that far through. If you're getting that far, man, you are dragging that alliance to 30% because that's a massive effort to get that far, like through mercs and minions. But what I would say to you is this, man, take the pressure off yourself and use a sacrifice team, right? If you want to 2-tap that Ronin node, here's what you want to do. First of all, the first 2 nodes when you come in, man, charge your Storm to 15, if you can. Then when you get to that node, you want to use Colossus, Storm, Phoenix, Ultron, Minerva. That's my sacrifice team. I know people use slightly different versions. And then what's great, man, is that because you have Phoenix basically put all the attacks on her, it doesn't matter. They can put all the nukes into her that they want, bro, right? That is exactly what you want to happen. And then what'll happen is she'll bust her turn, and then the defense downs go everywhere. Then you're able to drop the bomb from Storm into a defense down. You're going to probably kill, I think it's the Strange... and there's two other, I think it might be a Korath and someone else. Like the squishier ones normally die at that point. And then, of course, you get the next wave drop down after those first two deaths. And just so happens to be perfect timing, Phoenix comes in and drops the bomb, right? Now, not long after that, depending on RNG, you're probably going to die, right? Unless you've got a massive, like, god-tier Colossus and you get very lucky, chances are you die at that point, and that's fine. Because that massive Zerg, you're already through it. Then you can go back to your Yo-Hobo or whatever it is that you're using, man. So, at the moment, you're saying you're doing Black Bolt, perfect. Captain Marvel, let me come back to that. Yo-Yo Minerva, Shuri. So, okay, so he's using the old school. I mean, I'd drop the Captain Marvel for sure. You could drop the Minerva, though, for the extra DPS. You want another big AoE, really. Like, if you've got a symbiote Spider-Man, even at 3 reds, 3 yellow, he's going to be very good at that point. Otherwise, I mean, Heller at 4 reds and above is pretty good there as well. But yeah, you're probably going to struggle. And look, and remember, you're probably having 3 guys come up the middle too, mate. So if you do your sacrifice X-Men team or X-Men hybrid team and your buddies do the same thing, it's probably game over. Like, you guys can move on past that. So you can't make it a team effort, man. They shouldn't all be relying on you. Trust me, as someone that did that for a very long time, it's when you do it feels good, man. And one-shotting that is so RNG dependent. I've only done it once. It's such a pain in the dick. It really is. All right, Snorlax Hunter 64. Would you rather be required by law to eat 8 Big Macs per day with the normal toppings, or never be able to use the internet again?
I don't need a law to require me to eat Big Macs.
I was going to say, that's basically what I do now. And I feel like with the internet connection, I could just fap away at least 6 Big Macs, right?
Oh my god! Like I'd die after 3 Big Macs. I couldn't get.
I reckon I could
that.
maybe
like,
do 4 in a day.
limit.
I don't know if I could do any more than that though, and that'd have to be like 2 lunch, 2 dinner. Like I couldn't do. Yeah, that's big. That's dense.
Oh god! Now they're gonna try to get us to do a Big Mac eating contest on stream.
Oh god, no one wants to see that, especially with the beard, man, too, because it looks like you're gonna have. Well, everyone knows what it's going to look like. You're going to have all through your beard, and no one needs to see that.
I can feel every artery clog in my body.
H Headshot, been having fun in PvP mode, but I'm constantly racking my brain using multiple characters that have more specific abilities, trying to figure out whether it'll apply or not against the clock. Should we be able to flick a switch and turn on all the mode-specific things to feel the full power of our roster and test ourselves at optimal level? I'm assuming he's talking about, like, this works in Raid, this works in War, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Well, see, the thing that's hard about that, man, is that, like, some of it has, like, defense specifically. So who do you give that to? Both sides? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty hard to code that, because if you have to, someone's going to get a massive advantage if you don't give it to both. So, I think you kind of have to keep it out of that node, to be honest.
I could see them doing as that as like an alternate mode that like people want to do for fun, but yeah, it's not going to be a main part of it.
Yeah, I think they've built it, but they don't really know what they're going to do with it yet. Like, I definitely see them rounding up the likes of Casino, Mobile Gamer, Valley, and doing, like, a big show of, how amazing is this game, man? And, like, you know, really, because as a showcase event, this is very fun. But, like, what you do with this in-game, like, what are you going to do? Have 4 million people be able to do this against each other in a tournament? I mean, Foxnex couldn't even code the last patch to put Crystal in without crashing the entire system. That is not going to happen. So I dare say what's going to happen is you're going to see like a VIP system where what they'll do is like in an arena season or something, they'll say, okay, well, the following people qualify. That goes into a bracket. AFK Arena did something like this where if you qualified high enough in Arena, they picked people. And then what would happen is each day you could basically bet gold on who would win, right? And if they won, then you got that gold with like really good returns. So I don't know that we need gambling upon gambling upon gambling in this game because we're already there, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Scooter. Haven't seen anywhere, but why do Ronin summons not benefit from the red stars after the rework? I don't know. I think you are right though, because I have not seen them come close to the capacity that I thought he would have been. I thought he was one of the ones that would benefit the most, mainly because of exactly what I was talking about before. Noble and Reaper. If they summoned with decent reds, oof, you could be in trouble because they could summon other things. But they just haven't. So it does feel like they haven't coded it properly. If they have scaled it, it just means that the base stats of older characters just unfortunately suck. You know, you see this all the time, man, is that like new characters, even if they're an average character, their base stats versus like Captain America is ridiculously different.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Zateo Tech, on a scale from 1 to 10, how close are you to quitting the game? Oh, this is a bad day to ask that question, isn't it?
It depends on the day.
Yeah. Look, I mean, because we've had some challenges with the game and some frustrations with the company, and then, you know, now we're doing a bit of alliance shuffling as well. That's added a layer of stress we didn't really anticipate as well. So it's definitely. I'd say the last couple of days I've been around a 7 or an 8. Like it's been a while since I've been this close, and Black Order is probably going to define it for me in a lot of ways. I'll finish DD3 regardless. Like I'll go through that now that I'm sort of 35% or something through, and we'll see. What about you, mate?
Some days on Node 12 it's just makes you just like, why am I still playing this game? But I mean, I see the light at the end of the tunnel on there. There's like 12 enemies left, so hopefully I can get that down in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. Yeah. Then I can move on. It should be more fun, but God, I'm not even looking forward to it the second time. But I'm gonna take so many cosmic characters up if I can, just to make it less painful.
Look, I think they really need to add some really, really decent, worthwhile rewards to this raid slider and not have that slider be ridiculous. Because, let's face it, that is their raid content for at least another 3-ish months, I reckon. Probably 6 or more, right? So the game itself and what we have to do in it that progresses your account. Like, the PvP is fun, but it's not getting you anything. It's just costing you time and it's just fun, you know? Right. But as far as, like, Ultima 7, how long has that been out now? It's a long time. And, like, new content that's progressive. Like, DD3 is basically it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, look, don't worry, guys. We're not going anywhere anytime soon. But, look, it definitely has been, it felt like the game was going in a direction, man. Like, the vibe was finally starting to come back. And just the way they've been coming at the community with just choices after choices. If they make a few more of those, man, it could be bad times. Yeah, we'll see, though. We'll see. Yeah.
I will say the live PvP has bought them some time.
Oh, look, I agree. I mean, that's injected something into it that on days when there's nothing else to do, it's like, all right, let's do this, guys. I finally got some time. Unfortunately, I don't get too many of those days. Getting my raid and war nodes in is tough enough, but yeah, it is what it is. All right, the tick. Is it true that when someone becomes your patron, they get smarter, grow 3 inches, have a better sex life, and generally get happier? Well, I'd be happy with 3 more inches, that's for sure.
Yes, in 2 ways.
Exactly.
On 2 measurements.
I think 3 inches by itself pretty much ticks all those boxes. If you can get 3 inches without being a patron, I'd say go for it. If you can do it while being a patron, even better. I think that sounds better in theory than it really would be, right? I think there's a lot of women that would just say no.
Like,
or men, I mean, whatever you're into.
You put that away.
It's like, what is that? Tuck it back into the bottom of your shorts, young man. Exactly. All right, H Headshots. Why does Scopely not care about blitz spotters? We know it makes their numbers look good because of engagement, but they must be losing heaps of profit where players would usually buy blitz charges. Let me tell you, mate, the reason they don't care, we just saw the answer right in this thing now. The guy that won looks like he was so nervous, and I'm looking forward to asking this question to see if I'm right or wrong about my theory. He was so nervous about botters and other Krakens being right behind him, he added 25 million to his total versus number 2, mate. Right? Yep. I'm telling you right now, they're spending cores, don't you worry. All right? They are absolutely making that money. DD3 is where they lost their core money.
And they're also probably selling more character packs because, like you said, it's like people just be like, this ain't worth it, I'll just buy the packs.
Yep. It's 100%. Like, I definitely started to buy more. Well, I started buying more of the packs because, like, at the moment, YouTube is doing almost well enough to justify it, right? Yeah. If I regularly got to, like, 10,000 views a character, maybe it's a little bit closer, right? Yeah. But it's still a loss. Don't get me wrong. But, yeah. All right, Jackie246, would Moore be a more likely candidate for DD3 rather than Hella at this point? No.
Hella is
oh.
if you boil DD3 down to its smallest essence, you need Phoenix for global, Hella for cosmic, Symbiote Spider-Man for city. Then you build around those. You need those. Trust me when I say this. If you don't have Hella, you're in for a hell of a lot of pain.
Yeah, and it opens up some wicked combinations too, man. Like the fact that if you have like a half decent Loki with a Hella as well, you've got your defense down spread. Like so every couple of days you can just punch a hole through the moon, right? Then if you've got a big Thor, arguably that's even better because they're going to go Greg, and Thor's going to go nope and just come in and punch people in the face. So I think Hella is she's guaranteed to be good. Moore's going to come in on his first day, and you're going to go, this is awesome. And for the next 6 days, you're going to go, this guy's useless.
Yes. Yeah, slight boost if you have Thanos, but you shouldn't have Thanos in there. So.
Yeah, I mean, unless you've got big reds. Like, as we were talking about the other day, like, yeah, maybe. I mean, I think a full, as you were saying before, mate, like a full Black Order, like once a week, they're probably going to half murder a wave almost. You know what I mean? Like they're going to do okay. But there's going to be a lot of days in between where there's a bit of downtime, I think. It all depends on Proxima. If she can get her ultimate off enough, maybe it's enough. And, 5 energy cooldown to get the defense up and the offense downs from the Moore as well. Maybe it's enough. Maybe Cull Obsidian is just such a ridiculous stat ball that he can just absorb enough hits that, you actually get 2 or 3 cooldowns off a day. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I doubt it, though.
Well, it's all about, Thanos going immediately, which is absolutely huge.
Oh, yeah.
And so he gets the death proof and stuff, and the immunity, so that's also huge.
Oh, exactly. And remember this as well. Like, if you get really, really lucky, what can happen is if they murder Hela and they don't kill Greg and you use Minerva to bring Hela back, multi-Greg, baby. Like that 20% turn meter down every time they do something dumb in AoE. Oh. And could you imagine if you had a Thor on top of that? Bro, it'd be so good. So, yeah, I mean... Look, you're not going to punish a wave, but I think that combination is pretty great. So, that's why if I had like a Invisible Woman, for example, not that I recommend anyone take her in there. She's fine, but I wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't either because I did take her in. She's too slow. Yeah,
but on those days, like let's say that Hela was the one with the highest amount of health, and then you did that defense up thing, that'd be perfect. Because then they're going to kill her, guaranteed multi-Greg. But again, that's so situational, it's not funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I agree. I mean, I think take both is probably a better scenario. If you can have Moore and Hela, great. Oh, I mean, because they're both Mystic, aren't they? Ugh.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of Mystic.
God damn it. And then Thanos as well. All right. Well, that's a good point, actually. Who are you going to T14 first? I imagine for you it has to be Thanos, right?
He already is T14.
Oh, that's right. He already is T14. Yeah. So you're already there. Who are you going to bring up for your next Mystic then? Hela or Moore?
Hela. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, actually, maybe more because of Arena. Because it'll be a while before I get to Cosmic. But yeah, I'm definitely doing Hela. I just hope I get enough good Mystic mini uniques from the first run rewards. It'll be brutal if I get only like 30 of each one.
I was talking to a couple of the boys the other day, and they were showing me the screenshots of their rewards. What you don't get anywhere near as many productive mini uniques as you think you would. But the boys were saying that it really comes down to the RNG on the full pieces. They were saying that both of them basically got like a full characters like easily, where they could just go bang. There's my next tune straight away. So that's not too bad, but it does seem like it's very RNG dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Spartan34. Do you think the Thanos basic is worth a T4, considering it looks like every fight with the Black Order will open with empowered Thanos' basic?
I think if you did take him to 6 red stars or higher, definitely. I mean, I did all on mine, but
yeah. I think if you're min-maxing, you're going to because of the counters, right? Because we just read that you're going to get counters up on all of the Black Order. So obviously having the basic ramped up means you're going to do more damage on the counter as empowered as well.
Yeah, and you always get the counter when you use it and 60% extra damage. So yeah, I'd say it's worth it.
Absolutely.
You're going all in.
All right, Jedi Matrosa, what are your top 3 PvP characters? After the big 6, Black Bolt, Phoenix, Ultron, Captain Marvel, Mr. Sinister, and Hela, who are your go-tos? He says his has been Loki, Falcon, SSM. Yeah, I see Loki all the time. Falcon and SSM are definitely like high priority once you get through those first 6. Absolutely. I think Vision, you're going to see him a lot. I think you're going to see a lot of Shuri as an Invisible Woman.
Yeah, if your Thor is high, especially if you can sneak in a Loki, things just get exploded.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause mine's at 5 reds and T14. He just like obliterates stuff if he lives long enough.
Is that your Thor? Is he? Oh, your Loki, you mean?
No, my Thor.
Your Thor's T14?
T14. Yep, I took him in for Cosmic.
Oh,
I had to. I had no damage.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I keep forgetting that you had a very... So he's Mystic as well, isn't he?
Yes.
Wow. Because mine's rubbish. He's one of the characters... Yeah, I only pulled like 3 reds on him. Like this whole time. Anyway, what are you going to do? Yeah, all right. Benicus, what are the best matchups to use in humans on besides Hydra? What kind of punch-ups, punch-downs should you do with that team? So they do pretty well punching down about 10% on Asgardians. They can usually do pretty well there. If you've got a, let's say, 4 to 5 Red Star, Black Bolt, or above. If you get real unlucky, though, yeah, they can pump you pretty hard. So Asgardian's a bit mismatchy. For them, I think they're going to do pretty well also against the Merc team, but I think they're pretty overkill. To be honest, mate, I think right now you want to save them for Hydra. Like, there really shouldn't be any reason, unless you've got some guys that have big Ultimus, Cyborg, Korath, Ultron combos who are taking out 1 to 2 Hydras a day like I do. That's a different story, right? Then you might be able to go and use it somewhere else. Other than that, they can take out most things except for Coulson, right?
Yeah. One thing I tried, it was quite a bit of a punch down. I don't know how high it could scale, but I took in Wakanda, but with Black Bolt instead of Okoye to take on a Hydra team. It worked pretty well because you have the Black Bolt, plus you have the Black Panther that can go off if they're like lower health guys. So you can get the extra turn meter.
Fair play. Actually, that's something I've been curious about doing is like a lols thing, if you could get it off. Black Panther, Carnage, Symbiote Spidey in PvP. Anyway, that's a different thought.
Yep.
JJ Orbits, I've been playing for 715 days, always having a T3 crunch. Will this always be the case? I didn't join Alliance for the first 7 months. There it is. I switched Alliances in June. 100% Ultima 6, and since February we do 30% Ultima 7. Yeah, that can cost you. I mean, the reality is, mate, I'd say if you're running out of those all the time, you're trying to do every character. And if you're blitzing, like I completely understand why you're doing that, but you are always going to run out. You'll never catch up. See, with us, there's characters that we've had for a very long time that we've never touched with T4s, T3s, or, yeah, they're still level 1, right? Yep, that's cost us in Blitz, but for everything else, it means when a new character rolls around, we have T3s, T4s, we have T12, maybe even T13 gear at this stage. And that's where I think a lot of people are not careful enough with their resources. Don't get me wrong, I think the resources in-game need to be more, but I do think the T3s for veteran players at 715 days are probably fine, but I will say at the current release cadence and the availability of those for mid-tier alliances, I think a lot of those guys will never catch up. I think they'll always be at a deficit, Roy.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you can't take them all up, so I would just prioritize the best ones, and then they stack up over time. Like, I've just been taking a lot of characters up lately just for Blitz and stuff, and I still have 40,000 of them. So,
absolutely. All right, then we have... That's the wrong question. Okay, Rockstar, last one. I got Minerva, Phoenix, and Black Bolt at T14. Working on Hela at the moment, thinking of bringing in Sabretooth as a 5th for DD3. My thought was just to get into DD3 ASAP. I should not spend the materials for him and take Colossus instead. Keep in mind, I only have enough mini-uniques for 1 gear slot, which Sabretooth only needs. Also, I have 3 reds on Sabretooth. Mr. Sinister has 6. Strife and Mystique both have 5s. That's a hard call. He didn't say what his Colossus was, did he? See, for me, I'm digging that like big Colossus, big Phoenix combo. Like the RNG is gone. Like I get her special off every day without having to try. Then the RNG manipulation is, can I get her ult off as well? Right? And most days I can.
Right.
So I do like that combination way better. But I will say this, for most of Global, however, having a Sinister as well would be epic. But taking him first, you're kind of left exposed if you don't take a Shuri, right?
Yeah, Shuri or Fury, yeah.
Yeah, but it's no guarantee. Like, you have to wait for the perfect RNG then. That's why I kind of like Colossus better. So, for me, I'd vote Colossus. Are you saying Sinister, Roy?
Yeah, it'd be more fun. You might have to do more RNG stuff, but you can attack so many different situations better with a Sinister because there's so many juicy clone targets. Mm-hmm. Especially if you have the yellow to go with those 6 red stars. Holy crap!
Oh yeah,
that would be amazing. You can clone your Colossus or whoever you need. So
yep. All right, we have to burn through these ones really quick, guys. That's all the Patreon questions. Thanks for that, lads. All right, so let's go into everyone else now. Okay, it looks like some of the patrons double up here. All right, so Legriff first. He's put his in here instead of patrons. So when are we finally going to organize a Deadpool for an upcoming patch and bet on what breaks? I know Chew had a question like this on here some time ago. Oh, yeah, I did too. I said, what are we predicting is going to break in tomorrow's patch? Someone did guess that correctly. That's a great idea, actually. That's a great idea. The only thing is, it's just an EP though, because I don't like gambling, as people know. So, yeah, I mean, I love the idea. Don't get me wrong. I think if you can guess what they're going to break, that's pretty funny. Yeah. Great question. I like that a lot. All right, Doom, can you guys comment on arena changes before Dark Order Arise? For instance, Ultron has left defense and Sinister is a must-have. With 100k Toon players on the field, defenses are now more than 500k. What's the new defense meta? There is none. End of story. Look, I would say this. I think there is a defense meta, but it changes. So I think the ultimate defense meta is if someone has big Crystal, Black Bolt, and Yo-Yo. If they have those 3 and a Phoenix, you're in trouble, son.
Yeah, and a high Sinister. That's nasty.
Oh, man, if they have that to top it off and you've got a Phoenix on your team, yeah, you're in trouble, son. So, yeah, I think that Crystal, now that she's farmable and people are going to get her up, people are going to realize pretty soon that she's been a missed meta that we all didn't see coming, right? When I do play Arena at the moment, like when I want to push out of 30 and actually close into the top 10, every time I see that 3 combo, because I got a guy that has 6 Black Bolt, 6 Crystal, and I think it's 5 Yo-Yo, I just say no these days because I'm not beating them. Because they survive the bursts, right? They drop down the health and they immediately spike back up. They just negate a Black Bolt AoE. And then you've got Phoenixes. She doesn't quite get them because Yo-Yo lands an offense down on her. It's over. You cannot do enough DPS. And then it's like, well, who do I kill first? Do I kill the Crystal to stop the heal? Because she's just going to heal herself. Do I try and drop the Yo-Yo to try and stop the offense ups? Do I try and kill the Black Bolt? And then there's a Phoenix and probably a Sinister lurking out there somewhere else as well. For me, that's probably that. In saying that, I mean, you've sent screenshots of dudes that have like, what's he got there? 6 red on Colossus. 6 red on Cyclops. 6 reds on Marvel. 4 reds on Sinister, 7 reds on Fury, and 5 reds on Phoenix. I mean, that's an a-hole of a team. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, Black Bolt could tear a lot of that team up. Absolutely. And then if you can get rid of a lot of their buffs, I think you're going to be pretty good there as well. So, I mean, it's definitely doable, but that 6 red Marvel, she's definitely going to cause you a bit of mischief out of the top. What I will say is sometimes you can get a bit lucky if you've got a Heller on your team that they'll kill your minion by mistake. That'll turn the turn meter back far enough that you'll go before the Captain Marvel. That quite often is a difference maker, yeah. But I think those 3 from Inhumans are, if there is a defensive meta right now, they're in it. Those 3 and Phoenix.
Do you think Crystal and Black Bolt can get it done without Yo-Yo, or is it not worth it?
No, that offense down, like, it's such an underrated thing, mate, because if she lands that offense down on Phoenix before she does her ult, you've literally gimped the biggest thing that she has, right? You've undone it. So, yeah, I think it's a big deal. I really do.
All right.
Okay. Fick Nuri, do you have any general numbers in mind when you talk about the minnows, dolphins, and whales? So someone spent, not really. I think dolphins are people that, like, a pack comes out and they buy it because of the character they like, right? There might be $100
Right.
once a year. Do you know what I mean? It might be a couple $100 a couple times a year. I think whales are people that are probably buying several purchases or new characters a month, and krakens are the ones that are probably buying red stars still. So I think it's basically, it goes up from hundreds to thousands and whatever. Yeah.
And tens of thousands.
Yeah, exactly. Tiger Schultz, for free-to-play and low spenders, is Black Order worth investing right now since you won't be able to get good stars on at least 2 out of 5 of them? And in the casino vid where he talks to Fox, they say it wins at equal power, but they didn't seem confident punching up in arena. Yeah, I said that on last week's stream, man. I was worried about that comment because I really do think that, we might be able to get Wakanda'd, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, we have a very slight hope since they did put Proxima into orbs, so they might make them farmable somewhat soon. But I don't know if that'll be all of them or who knows.
Well, the fact that we're going to have...
be in orbs.
Yeah, they said that Corvus is going to be able to have his red stars farm before the end of the month. So that'll be interesting. Yeah. All right. Then we have CMD Riker. Any credence to the theory that if you pull red stars before buying the offer, you're more likely to get high red stars? Man, I'm the wrong guy to ask. It doesn't matter what I do, I'm getting trash. It does.
Well, I mean, I've pulled 7 red on Blob, didn't buy the offer, of course.
True.
Pulled 6 red on Corvus, didn't buy the offer.
But then you got Remen X who buys everything, and he has more than you. So it's like, what wins, you know? And then I've done it both ways, and I have 0. So work it out.
Yep.
Andreas, just an idea. Invite other content creators on the podcast so you can have on-air discussions. Really tired of hearing the smack talk from a distance. So, I mean, I've been on other people's streams, that sort of stuff before.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. I don't think that they'd want or need to come to stoop down to this podcast, my friends. They are way bigger than us, my man. And look, most of it's all said in friendly fun as well, for sure. All right, Sky Song. I just pulled my first 7 red star, and it's Namor. It's actually not too bad. I mean, it's not great. All my Fantastic Four and him are level 1 due to lack of gold, and the rest are all 3 reds. Is it worthwhile leveling him up and not the others? No. The AoE is big, but it's not that big.
I mean, if you really, really, really like War, I mean, you can sub him in somewhere for that big AoE because it removes the turn meter too. Because I just run him and Invisible Woman with my Villains Boom team. But, I don't know. You'd have to really be into War to invest in that.
Yeah, I'd probably vote no for myself. Fritz the Train, how do you value Moore's usefulness outside of Black Order across the game modes? Seems like REW with 2 excellent abilities to provide solid protection. But besides being a middle finger to Phoenix, does he impress you as a solo character? So I think we kind of covered that earlier, that I think in War and DD3-ish and Arena, he's going to be great. But I think I'm a bit worried about War. Raid. I don't think it's going to be right. Farm Geek, what are your feelings on people wagering real money on the new PvP system? I mean, you're asking the guy that every episode puts in a disclaimer about gambling on loot boxes. I don't love it, right? I also know him, though. It's not coming from a place of maliciousness. So, but I'd prefer not to see that in our game, if I'm being honest, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty dumb.
Yep. I mean, it all depends on how you look at it. Like, I mean, we've openly said that we will always prioritize matches with patrons or anyone that subscribes on our Twitches, but I think that's fair, right? Because, they're paid money to support us. I think it's only fair they get first shot to say they kicked our butt, which will happen.
Yeah, it's not like we're saying, you can't fight us unless you're a patron.
So. Yeah, I wouldn't ask for it, but let's say there was a stream where there was no patrons and there was no subscribers on, and then a guy donated $10. Of course, the guy that paid $10 is going to get a match, but I'm not gambling for it. And I'm not saying you only get to fight if you pay money. That's you know what I mean? Like, right. Yeah, I think, let me just summarize.
We're not doing if I win, you pay me, or if I lose, I pay you. No, that's just...
Not doing any of that. All right, Smedley, final question for the week. Why do you think Foxnax will not input the assist and counterattack info on the character's ability page? As Foxnax has confirmed that Taskmaster shouldn't steal any positive effects when countering or assisting, and if he does, it needs reporting to them. Did they say that he shouldn't be? Did I miss that?
didn't see that, but I haven't.
Let me
really
go to
been looking at everything.
MSFGG. He still. Oh my god, he steals 2 on a counter or an assist. Wow, I thought they definitely only let him have 1.
Is that only in war? Or
No,
is
that's legit. That's always. I think I've just found a new rando character.
That's
for
why you
PvP.
want Kingpin, because he gives the assist. That's why you want Kingpin.
Well, he's getting the assist on every Merc's turn anyway, mate. And if you put Kingpin in, it's only goes from having a guaranteed chance of assist to only a maybe chance of assist. Yeah, I see what you mean there. A lot of people say I'm making the exact same assumption, but honestly, Merc LT does the same job. You don't need 2 of them. Look, to be honest, it is hard. I mean, those pages are getting so long already with all the abilities. And we have MSFGG. Like, Foxnex does give that information to those guys to put up there. I know you want it all on one resource in the game, but we can access that information pretty reliably. So it's not as big a deal for me, I guess. But when we do see a kit, we have to wait for the MSF.GG guys. But because they're envoys, they do get that info pretty early. So... Yep. And soon they're going to get their coding behind the scenes. Well, I say soon. They've been promising it to those poor buggers for more than a year now, where they can just basically just sync it up with the game directly, like the Galaxy of Heroes site does, galaxyofheroes.gg. That one was awesome because, like, as soon as a character was in the data mines, you could instantly see all their stats and play around with them, and like you could like shift gear onto them and theorycraft. It was awesome, but they haven't given those files to the msf.gg guys.
Well, hopefully they do.
Absolutely. All right, that is a big, long episode. We're going to cut it right there, folks. So if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure you head on over to our Patreon page, www.patreon.com/SFMOL. And if you did enjoy it, but you don't want to spend any money and you got 2 seconds and you haven't done it already, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. If you do leave us a 5-star review, Roy will read out your review on the very top of the show next week. Make sure you sign up on Alternate Reality's YouTube page, A&R Podcast, if you want to get our podcast all on one YouTube page. Or alternatively, if you just want one place for everything, including all our infographics, Piker has those now stored on our new website, which has been overhauled at alternatereality.com. And I'm hoping to get a couple of days on Twitch. Work's been a nightmare, but we'll see how we go. This week at twitch.tv/Chewburger84. Roy, take us on out of here.
Yep, I'm Bigroyawesome on Twitch and YouTube, so check me out on there. That's going to do it. Thanks for listening. Till next time, stay tuned and stay awesome.